Thumbnail idea, and striding forward in a navy coat, wind in her hair, a faint crowned silhouette behind her, and a bold strapline across the bottom, still running the firm. She was supposed to be slowing down. Instead, the woman they call the hardest working royal just pressed the accelerator. As Britain wrestles with rising costs, a jittery world, and a thinner royal bench than anyone expected, one senior royal isn't easing off the gas, she's adding miles. And the timing? Days before her 75th birthday, precisely when most people book a quiet table and turn off their phone. Not Anne. Stay with me, because the quotes you're about to hear from inside her charities explain why royal watchers are whispering the same thing. If the monarchy still feels steady, look for the boots doing the walking. Here's the picture that set insiders buzzing. Charity leaders, the ones who see the real work up close, describe a princess who doesn't chase the limelight, who cracks a dry one-liner to cut the tension, then gets straight to business. Self-effacing, they say. Practical. She cares. Not the language of celebrity. The language of someone who reads the brief, turns up on time, and leaves an organization stronger than she found it. That's soft power done the old-fashioned way. No drama, just delivery. Save the children have the receipts. Anne's been with them for more than half a century, first as president in her 20s, now as patron, and their chief executive says she's met tens of thousands of supporters and helped raise tens of millions. That's not a ribbon-cutting habit. That's a relationship. And in a year when 1 in 3 children in the UK grows up in relative poverty and the global need bites harder than headlines can carry, the same people quietly confirm she's traveling, visiting projects, and nudging leaders when the cameras are long gone. The phrase they use is telling: soft support. She won't tell you how to run your charity. She'll make you want to run it better. If you want stamina in a single frame, remember this: last summer she was rushed to intensive care after being struck on her estate. Most people would step back. She chose the riding for the Disabled National Championships for one of her very first returns, and stayed over her time. The CEO who watched it unfold says it wasn't accidental, it was deliberate. That's Anne's code. When life knocks, she turns up where she's needed, not where the photo looks best. And when she tells friends she doesn't remember the accident and now views every day as a bonus, you understand why she treats each engagement like it matters, because for her, time is something you use, not something you have. You hear the same story from health and science groups who work with her. She asks the difficult questions. She doesn't always agree. She comes armed with prep and expects the same from you. It's the Philip School of Royal Service. Be curious, be blunt if you have to, and never confuse charm with usefulness. It's no coincidence that leaders in engineering and research say she talks about technology and the built environment with the kind of depth that makes experts sit forward. That's not theater. That's homework. And yet, the paradox: for someone this visible on the ground, she is almost invisible in the Klieg lights. No curated tears. No performative speeches. The word that keeps returning is low-key. It's why, as she hits that milestone birthday, she refuses the chandelier party and instead pulls hundreds of her charities together for a working forum at Buckingham Palace. Not a gala. A grind. If you're looking for the message, it's hiding in plain sight. The brand is duty. Inside the slimmer monarchy, this matters more than ever. With the king working through treatment, the Waleses balancing family and a packed autumn ahead, and a public that has zero patience for fluff, someone has to keep the baseline steady. That's Anne's lane. She doesn't reinvent the institution. She stops it from fraying. And charity chiefs are openly saying it now. She positions the royal family in a way people understand by showing them the work. There's a reason wicked wit keeps popping up in these testimonials. It's not gossip, it's a management style. The one-liner isn't vanity, it's a tool. A fast joke unfreezes a room so the real conversation can start. Then comes the part most people never see, the follow-up. Letters answered. Minutes read. Site visits that don't make the press grid. The quiet phone call that unlocks a meeting you've been trying to get for 6 months. That's soft power with receipts, and it keeps her charities moving when the news cycle has moved on. Listen closely to the way chiefs describe her posture in a crisis year. Very committed. Keeps nudging us forward. Stamina, mental and physical. This isn't the stuff of trending clips, but it's exactly how you pull a sector through hard weather. When you're facing the kind of geopolitical churn that knocks supply chains and slashes budgets, the difference between folding and fighting can be a patron who shows up and says, calmly, "What do you need first?" And has become that sentence. It bears repeating, none of this is political. That's the point. Soft power only works when it stays above the scrum. She won't tell you who to vote for, she will insist that the work is real and the outcomes are measurable. In practice, that looks like a royal who doesn't breeze through for a handshake shot. She asks why a timeline slipped, what a metric means, how a design will serve the people who'll actually use it. She's not trying to be flattering. She's trying to be useful. And if you think this is some farewell tour glow, check the tempo. The Motor Neurone Disease Association says she's doing more, not less, as her birthday approaches. The disability community confirms she chose them as a first stop after hospital. International partners list the countries she's visited and the programs she's strengthened. None of that happens by accident. It happens because the person at the center refuses to make the story about herself. There's a reason the comparison to her father lands. Philip's legacy was 1,000,000 private moments of straight talk and curiosity that quietly modernized the way institutions thought. And has lifted that baton and kept the pace. When a senior figure in science says she's deeply committed to the values of a commission set up in the era of the Great Exhibition, and committed specifically so that research and design have a profound impact on the lives of people, you glimpse the thesis under the schedule. Tradition doesn't mean standing still. It means doing the basics so well that progress can happen on top of them. What does this mean for the next season of royal life? It means the stories that stick won't be the shouty ones. They'll be the ones where a princess with a day to spare takes the train, keeps her coat on, and leaves behind more capacity than she found. It means the monarchy's safest bet in a noisy year is the royal who treats the diary like a promise, not a performance. And it means that when the public looks for authenticity, they keep finding it in the same place, the woman who laughs first, works second, and lets the outcomes do the talking. So yes, the candles are being lit. But if you're expecting a pause, don't. The people who know her best are crystal clear, she isn't easing off, she's leaning in. Wicked wit, practical questions, no fear of disagreeing, and a schedule that looks more like a marathon plan than a victory lap. In a royal landscape that needs fewer headlines and more handshakes, princess and soft power is the loudest quiet in Britain. What's your read? Is Anne's Donty make a fuss brand of service exactly the anchor the firm needs right now, or should the palace be pushing her work louder to match the moment? Drop your take below, and if you're new here, hit subscribe. Next up, the tiny line on Anne's diary that looks routine and will tell you everything about how the autumn is really going to run.